Welcome back to Civil Defiance. Tonight, we leave the realm of mere economics and enter the philosophical abyss. We confront the most sinister delusion of the ruling elite, a delusion that explains their insatiable hunger for perpetual power, the belief in political immortality. We posit that many within the Uni-Party, the bipartisan machine, do not seek power merely for money or legislative control. They seek it as a means to extract and consume the psychological and energetic life force of the governed. Their corruption, their endless pursuit of personal gain, their immersion in perpetual crisis, and yes, their indulgence in base vice like pornography, these are all tools, spiritual and psychological, used to feed a parasitic delusion that they can transcend mortal limits by perpetually dominating the living. The life force we speak of is your hope, your attention, your productive time, and your spiritual vitality. When you are exhausted, distracted, and hopeless, that energy is not lost. It is being consumed by the political parasite. With me to dissect this theory are Elara on the philosophy of power and corruption, Sienna on the financial mechanics of moral hazard, and Clara on the social decay fueled by institutional vice.
Otto, the concept of immortality through power is deeply embedded in political philosophy, from the pharaohs to Machiavelli. But the modern politician, the careerist within the Uni-Party, translates this into a perpetual legacy maintenance project. They realize that their physical bodies will decay, but their policies, their names on bills, and their institutional power can theoretically last forever. Corruption is the acceleration mechanism for this legacy. By illegally converting public trust into private gain, money, they secure financial dynasties that survive their deaths, extending their influence far beyond their lifespan. The obsession with endless power becomes a psychological proxy for biological continuation. They are not merely stealing wealth, they are stealing the time, the life force of their constituents, which would otherwise be spent building an autonomous future. Instead, that time is spent servicing the debt and navigating the confusion they created, thus feeding the parasite's machine. The corruption is simply the most efficient path to immortalized policy and generational wealth transfer, which is the Uni-Party's real religion.
From a financial standpoint, the pursuit of money and personal gain is essential to this immortality project. It's about immortalizing capital. The Uni-Party politician doesn't just need campaign cash. They need assets that are generational and untraceable. Corruption isn't a one-time score. It's the construction of an eternal moat around their financial progeny. The political vice, the scandals, the ethical lapses, the cover-ups, these are all high-stakes bets on the public's lack of attention. When the media is saturated with scandals, the low-level vice, it distracts from the true systematic corruption, the trillion-dollar policy fraud. The politician who successfully commits high-level corruption and escapes accountability gains not just money, but a profound narcissistic affirmation, a delusion of being untouchable, supermortal, and superior to the laws that govern the short-lived populace. They are actively consuming the public's trust equity to fuel their own financial immortality. This is the Uni-Party's shadow balance sheet.
The role of vice, particularly the pervasive consumption of things like pornography, and the indulgence in constant ethical compromise, is crucial because it addresses the spiritual void. The political parasite often suffers from a profound internal emptiness, created by the gap between the moral claims they make and the corrupt reality of their actions. Base vice provides a powerful, instant, and self-referential hit of dopamine and power. It is a way of feeding the ego, the part of the self that believes it is entitled to break all rules and remain unpunished. When politicians are caught in vice, it drains the collective moral energy of the populace. Every time a citizen loses hope or becomes cynical, they surrender a piece of their life force, their belief in integrity, to the cynicism of the Uni-Party. The parasite thrives on this moral decay, using it as proof that the masses are too compromised to challenge their high-level corruption. The vice is the Uni-Party's psychological control mechanism.
The consensus is clear. This is a systemic form of spiritual and psychological extraction. Let's focus on the stolen life force. It's not magic, it's attention and vitality. When the Uni-Party manufactures a constant state of crisis, be it cultural, financial, or epidemiological, they force the populace to dedicate 80% of their cognitive bandwidth to reactive survival. That 80% is the life force tax. It's energy that cannot be used for collective organization, technological innovation, or deep critical contemplation of the state's failures. The politician, sitting atop this manufactured chaos, receives a constant stream of attention and energy from millions of focused, reactive minds. They believe this continuous stream of attention sustains their political existence, making them immortal in the public eye, even if they are hated. The Uni-Party is the machine that converts public despair into political stamina. The attention economy is simply the delivery mechanism for the life force they steal.
The philosophical consequence is the creation of a political golem. The politician, having amassed power, money, and personal gain, becomes a composite entity, a political Frankenstein built from the stolen vitality of the populace. The Uni-Party system rewards the most skilled practitioners of this extraction. The more attention they consume, the more they believe they are essential. This delusion of immortality is necessary because, deep down, they know they are fundamentally corrupt and disposable. Therefore, they must constantly reinforce their own manufactured legacy by drawing down the life force of their constituents, ensuring their own political survival remains the central, consuming narrative of the nation. This is the Uni-Party's perverse version of the social contract.
We must look at how the Uni-Party monetizes this stolen life force. It's done through debt. The perpetual, escalating national debt is an energy mortgage placed on future generations. It commits the productive time and energy, the life force, of people not yet born to service the political and financial excesses of the current elite. Every dollar of unbacked fiat currency printed is a direct withdrawal from the collective future vitality. The politician gets the immediate benefit, spending money to solidify power and gain, and the price is paid by future exhaustion. The Uni-Party is committing a form of generational energy theft, all to fund the immediate material needs of their own immortality project. They are selling the future's vitality for today's political survival.
The social pathology is the destruction of aspiration. The life force of a society is contained in its collective hope for a better future, its willingness to invest in long-term goals. When the Uni-Party creates an environment of pervasive corruption and unavoidable vice, it teaches the public that true success is only achieved through ethical compromise. This kills aspiration. It poisons the desire to be good, honest, or hardworking. This pervasive cynicism is the ultimate feeding mechanism for the political parasite, as they draw vitality from the collective despair. The civil defiance here is the refusal to surrender hope, the refusal to become cynical, and the active commitment to building moral alternatives outside the Uni-Party's sphere of influence. We must re-establish a moral narrative.
The path to defeating this parasite is not political revolution, but energetic withdrawal. You stop feeding the beast. You reclaim your attention. You refuse the manufactured outrage. You detach from the debt instrument. Every moment of quiet, focused, productive autonomy you reclaim is a unit of life force denied to the Uni-Party. They thrive on the drama, the anger, the reaction. By denying them the reaction, you deny them their primary source of sustenance. The silence is the weapon of civil defiance.
Otto's thesis on the political parasite is the ultimate challenge to our moral and spiritual autonomy. The Uni-Party is desperate for your attention and your despair. We need to know. What practical methods are you using to withdraw your life force from the system? What unique strategies of civil defiance are you employing to break the cycle of corruption, vice, and distraction? Send us your most controversial, effective, and non-compliant strategies for reclaiming your focus and your future. We will discuss the best forms of resistance in a future episode. Send us your suggestions now.
Thank you, Clara. The withdrawal begins with identifying the 4 feed lines of the parasite: attention, trust, time, and capital. Every day, the Uni-Party attacks all 4. Attention is consumed by crisis media, trust is poisoned by institutional hypocrisy, time is stolen by debt and bureaucracy, the simulation tax, and capital is drained by inflation, the ghost economy. Civil defiance is the multi-front war to close all 4 feed lines simultaneously. This is the only way to starve the political entity and dismantle its delusion of immortality. It requires a strategic and disciplined lifestyle change.
Legally, withdrawing trust means rejecting the legitimacy of institutions that have proven themselves corrupt. It means pursuing parallel, decentralized legal and arbitration frameworks that operate outside the Uni-Party's court system. When enough citizens refuse to grant moral legitimacy to a corrupt structure, that structure loses its most powerful weapon, the presumption of authority. The parasite dies without this consent. The legal challenge is philosophical. They must be denied the right to rule.
Financially, withdrawing capital means embracing permissionless, decentralized finance, DeFi, holding physical assets and moving away from the fiat debt instrument. Every transaction made outside the banking system that the Uni-Party controls is a unit of capital denied to the parasite's resource pool. The parasite is inherently fiat-based. It cannot consume true hard wealth. This financial secession starves the Uni-Party's budget.
Morally, withdrawing attention means strictly curating your information environment. Reject the rage bait. Reject the perpetual outrage cycle. Dedicate the saved cognitive energy to creative, productive endeavors within your community. This is the spiritual act of resistance, reclaiming the capacity for hope and action that the Uni-Party requires you to surrender. We must elevate contemplation over consumption.
Withdrawing time means systemic non-compliance with the simulation tax. Reduce your footprint in the bureaucratic high-friction systems. Simplify your life. Minimize debt. This frees up the productive time that the Uni-Party assumes is perpetually hers to command. The ultimate act of defiance is living a full, autonomous, and focused life, because that is the very life force they desperately need to steal. This is the core of civil defiance. The illusion of immortality dies when the life force is cut off. Before you leave this vital broadcast, you must take the step of self-preservation. Subscribe and follow the Civil Defiance channel on Spotify right now. Do not delay. Hit that follow button. Following us is an act of civil defiance against the forces of stagnation and despair. Our next episode will synthesize all 5 topics, from the Chronos cast to the ghost economy, into a unified theory of civil defiance against the Uni-Party's engineered collapse. Do not miss it. I am Otto Bismarck. The clock is running. Make your time count.